The PMO is refusing to turn over the names of 14 staffers who received severance and separation pay after leaving their jobs. The PMO won't even turn over the specific amounts the now anonymous individuals received, courtesy of the taxpayer. As a rule, at Rebel News, we try to pay attention to what are called the proactive disclosures of the Information Commissioner. We file a ton of our own access to information requests, as you probably already know, but other outlets and individuals file some of their own from time to time. Now, after a certain amount of time, those previously filed and then released access to information documents get posted for public consumption online. And knowing what I know about the mainstream media, I'm a skeptic of theirs. I think there can be a lot of damning information in those newly released documents somebody else asked for that the mainstream media might not want you to know, and because of that, the information just went unreported. What I'm saying is, it's worthwhile to double check other people's work too. Someone asked the Privy Council office, now those are Justin Trudeau's chief bureaucrats, for, and I quote, documents on the number of employees in the Prime Minister's office hired after November 4th, 2015 that left by March 4th, 2019 that were paid severance, the total amount of those severance payments, the number of those employees who also received separation pay, and the total amount of separation paid for those employees. Presumably, the filer was asking about Gerald Butts, the former principal secretary to Justin Trudeau, who, as you'll recall, left under a cloud of scandal in February, right in the middle of the SNC-Lavalin ethics investigation. The ATIP filer also may have been asking about Claude Gagne, who left the Prime Minister's office the previous February after being on leave since November of 2017. He was investigated for harassing female staffers. Now, he denies the claims against him and left eventually on his own accord. Now, those are the two guys I would definitely want to know about. However, in a shock to no one paying attention to how Trudeau operates in the Prime Minister's office, his office refused to disclose the individual amounts and the individual names. Here's what the government did disclose. Look at that. Everything, all 14 names are blacked out. The only information the government released was 2 line items at the bottom of the page. The PMO paid out $118,000 in severance, $119,000 in separation pay to up to 14 people, plus no doubt additional vacation pay being paid out on top of it all. Here's the thing. The PMO should have left the names in and just blacked out the actual specific amounts to be consistent with both normal practice and the rulings directed at the PMO about withholding things erroneously by classifying details as exempted personal information when it clearly isn't personal information according to Canada's information laws. These are the rules here. Order M18M102. Since exact salaries have the benefit of a presumed unjustified invasion of personal privacy, it is unlikely in most circumstances that any salary-related information would be available to the public. Where salary ranges do not exist, the head may be ordered to establish a salary range which is narrow enough to provide a member of the public with reasonable information. And in the Rubin v. Canada, the clerk of the Privy Council ruling from the 25th of March, 1993. According to the court, any non-monetary, non-salarial remuneration can be disclosed. To paraphrase, the government mostly only releases salary ranges, so it's fair, I guess, to black out the exact severance and separation payments for the individuals, but they certainly can and should give us a range of non-salaried remuneration that can be disclosed. And to make the point even more clear, that it shouldn't be a state secret to find out who got severance and separation, the Information Commissioner has ruled on this issue before, after Trudeau tried to keep details of Gerald Butts' expenses secret from us and from you. Here's the ruling when we appealed the constant removal of information and details as personal, when it was clearly just public information that should have been available to members of the public when members of the public like you and I ask for it. It reads, the Commissioner was also not satisfied with the Privy Council Office's refusal to disclose the requested information. Some of the information in one of the complaints did not meet the definition of personal information in the Privacy Act, based on which institutions may withhold information. As for the information that did qualify as personal, much of it was publicly available and should have been disclosed. To paraphrase what the Commissioner is saying there, there's no secret who works in the Prime Minister's office. It's a matter of public record who these people are, especially since they usually make sure to get their media friends to write glowing profiles about their departures when they finally go. For example, just today, this article appears in the Hill Times. Justin Trudeau's head policy and carbon tax guy, Mike McNair, is leaving the PMO. We, as the public, should be able to know how much of a golden parachute that guy got on the way out the door, too. But I guess the iron grip on public information in this most open and transparent government ever is going to remain in place, regardless of the recent findings of the Elections Commissioner against Justin Trudeau. Absolutely nothing is changing. The information laws are just more rules the Liberals appear to ignore to hang on to power. But that doesn't mean that we at Rebel News are going to stop trying to find out what the Liberals are doing behind closed doors, away from the disinfectant of sunlight. We want to know exactly which Liberal patronage appointments are now enriching themselves through severance, separation, and of course, soft landings. However, as you know, it's expensive and time-consuming to file for these access to information documents, then to get them back and spend the man-hours to read through them all, each and every page, and then to make appeal after appeal to the Information Commissioner just to get the information the law clearly says we are legally entitled to have. Now, if you can help cover the cost for us to do this sort of access to information, accountability journalism that isn't really being done in the mainstream media, you can contribute at rebelinvestigates.com. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. At Rebel News, we ask these sort of access to information questions that nobody else is asking, but it can be expensive and it is definitely time-consuming. If you can help cover the cost of us to do this sort of accountability journalism, please go to rebelinvestigates.com.